What is going on in the world of combat sports? We've got massive fights teased, legends speaking out, and legal battles reaching the highest courts. Get ready, because this is the Roger Report. First up, Michael Chandler is making waves. After their Ultimate Fighter season and a fight that fell apart, Chandler is still eyeing that massive showdown with Conor McGregor, and he thinks it could happen at a historic White House event in 2026. Can this fight finally get made? Then, we dive into a fiery debate. Dana White is pushing back hard against the idea that the UFC has a superstar problem, even with big names like Conor McGregor inactive. White insists the promotion is stronger than ever, especially with their new massive TV deal. Is he right, or is the UFC missing its next generation of icons? And speaking of Conor McGregor, he's back in the legal spotlight, seeking permission to make another appeal to the Supreme Court over a civil ruling regarding an assault allegation. This case has major implications and could set new legal precedents. Don't miss a second of this drama. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our deep dives. Michael Chandler still eyes McGregor clash at potential White House UFC event. Could the most anticipated fight in recent MMA history finally be on the horizon? Michael Chandler is making it clear that his desire to face Conor McGregor is stronger than ever, and he believes it could happen at a monumental UFC event potentially hosted at the White House in 2026. Ever since their intense coaching rivalry on The Ultimate Fighter 31, the matchup between Chandler and McGregor became a fan-favorite fantasy bout. While a planned fight at UFC 303 in 2024 was dramatically canceled due to McGregor's injury, Chandler remains optimistic. He recently shared his belief that this fight makes perfect sense for a historic UFC event, stating, "In my heart of hearts, I think I'm fighting Conor McGregor at the White House, and that sure does make a ton of sense for a multitude of reasons." He highlights their shared history and the unfinished business from TUF as key factors. Chandler also pointed out his own reliability as a fighter, contrasting it with the recent uncertainties surrounding McGregor's fight bookings. He emphasized his commitment to always showing up, saying, "If I can walk to the octagon, if I can physically make it to the octagon, I'm showing up." This statement underscores his dedication to fulfilling fight obligations, a trait he values highly in the unpredictable world of mixed martial arts. Fans have been buzzing about the possibility, with many echoing Chandler's sentiment that this fight needs to happen. The idea of it taking place on such a historic venue like the White House has only amplified the excitement, creating a perfect narrative for a conclusion to their rivalry. Will this dream match finally materialize? Don't go anywhere, because the drama is just heating up. Next, we're breaking down Dana White's passionate defense against claims that the UFC is facing a superstar drought. Dana White vehemently shuts down UFC superstar problem narrative. Is the UFC facing a void in star power, or is it simply evolving? UFC President Dana White is strongly refuting claims that the promotion is suffering from a lack of superstars, asserting the organization's continued dominance and financial success. With longtime draw Conor McGregor inactive and other legends like Jon Jones, Georges St-Pierre, and Khabib Nurmagomedov retired or on hiatus, the narrative of a superstar problem has resurfaced. While current champions like Ilia Topuria and Islam Makhachev are popular, some fans and analysts argue they haven't reached the transcendent levels of past icons. However, White dismisses these concerns outright. Speaking on the IMPALSIV podcast, White highlighted the UFC's recent groundbreaking $7.7 billion TV deal as proof of its robust health. He criticized those who question the business, stating, "The problem is that literally nobody knows anything about this F***seeking business." White pointed to the success of adjacent ventures like Power Slap and major boxing events he's been involved in as evidence of a thriving ecosystem, not a declining one. He emphasized that the perception of a superstar problem is a recurring theme that has followed the UFC throughout its history, from the eras of Chuck Liddell and Georges St-Pierre. White confidently declared, "Believe me when I F***seeking tell you, we have no problems," signaling his unwavering belief in the UFC's current and future trajectory. The upcoming shift away from the pay-per-view model in the US with the new Paramount deal further complicates discussions about star power, especially considering McGregor's historical dominance in UFC PPV sales. Yet, White remains unfazed, suggesting the UFC has a formula for success that transcends individual athletes. But the controversies don't stop there. We're diving deep into Conor McGregor's latest legal maneuver. Prepare for the details on his Supreme Court appeal and what it could mean. Conor McGregor seeks Supreme Court appeal over assault ruling and costs. Conor McGregor is once again at the center of legal proceedings, this time aiming for the nation's highest court. The former MMA fighter has applied to the Supreme Court for permission to appeal a civil high court jury's finding that he assaulted Nikita Hand, a ruling that also came with a significant costs order. This latest application follows the Court of Appeal's rejection in July of McGregor's challenge to the High Court jury's verdict, which found him liable for assault. The initial jury had awarded Ms. Hand €248,000 in damages and directed that she be entitled to her legal costs against McGregor. The Court of Appeal upheld this decision, further solidifying the initial findings. McGregor and his legal team, now represented by Mulholland Law, are arguing that his case raises an issue of public importance or meets the interests of justice threshold required for a Supreme Court hearing. A key point of contention highlighted by his solicitor, Ciaran Mulholland, involves McGregor's constitutional right to silence, which they claim was unfairly prejudicial in the lower courts. They seek clarification and adjudication on these serious legal issues from the Supreme Court. The legal saga stems from an alleged incident in a Dublin hotel in December 2018. McGregor's attempt to introduce new evidence during the appeal, suggesting Ms. Hand was bruised from a fight with her then-partner, was withdrawn. Ms. Hand's lawyers reportedly asked the Court of Appeal to refer the matter to the Director of Public Prosecutions for possible perjury, though individuals arrested in connection were later released without charge. This move to the Supreme Court signifies McGregor's continued fight against the civil court's findings and the substantial financial implications of the costs order. The outcome could have significant legal ramifications, particularly concerning the right to silence and its application in such cases. And if you thought that was the end of the legal drama, think again. We've got more on Conor McGregor's legal battles and what's next. Conor McGregor files Supreme Court appeal over assault ruling and €1.3 million costs order. In a significant legal development, Conor McGregor has filed an application with the Supreme Court seeking to appeal a civil high court jury's finding that he assaulted Nikita Hand. This move comes after the Court of Appeal previously rejected his challenge to the high court verdict, which also included a substantial order for legal costs. The original high court jury found McGregor liable for assault and awarded €248,000 in damages to Ms. Hand, along with her legal costs. McGregor's subsequent appeal to the Court of Appeal was unsuccessful, leading him to now seek a further review at the Supreme Court level. The grounds for this appeal reportedly focus on serious legal issues arising from the judgment, including McGregor's constitutional right to silence. His legal team argues that the case presents an issue of public importance or meets the interests of justice threshold necessary for a Supreme Court hearing. The complexity of the legal arguments and the potential precedent-setting nature of the case are cited as reasons for the highest court's intervention. The specific amount of the costs order, reportedly around €1.3 million, adds a significant financial dimension to McGregor's determination to pursue this appeal. This legal battle has been ongoing since an alleged incident in December 2018. The proceedings have seen various legal arguments and attempts to introduce new evidence, which have been contested throughout. The Supreme Court's decision on whether to grant leave to appeal will be critical, potentially revisiting key aspects of the case and its legal interpretations. The ongoing legal challenges continue to draw significant attention, highlighting the persistent legal entanglements McGregor faces outside the octagon. The outcome of this Supreme Court application will be closely watched by legal experts and fans alike. That's all the breaking news for today. But stick around for a super fast recap of everything you need to know. Wow, what a whirlwind of combat sports news. We've seen Michael Chandler still calling out Conor McGregor for a potential White House showdown. Dana White is shutting down any talk of a UFC superstar problem, and Conor McGregor himself is heading to the Supreme Court for another appeal. Don't miss out on any of the action. Make sure you're subscribed, hit that notification bell, and follow us on all our socials for more exclusive content and breaking news. We'll see you next time on the Roger Report.